Okay guys, welcome back to part 2 of our EP testing segment. So we're going to go into our next phase now, which is body composition testing. So it's nothing hectic. We're looking mainly at things like girth measurements and some basic body composition measures that you can use to give you kind of that little baseline. Okay, so our girth measurements are our simple bread and butter measurements that we use. And once you get good at these guys, they are actually quite accurate. So you predominantly want to use landmarks on the body to actually help you be accurate with girth measurements again and again and again. So our nice simple one, our waist measurement, we take them into the belly button, and we find our last floating rib and take the measurement from there. That gives us a good accurate point to go on. Our hip measurement is obviously going from the widest part of the hip, so the widest part of the glutes where they push out the most. That's where you're going to measure your hip measurement from. A little bit hard to do seeing as we don't have that landmark to go off, but that's just the widest part. Hopefully it doesn't change too much over time. Okay, so once you've got those, so in centimeters, be aware, use those two together. So you do the waist divided by the hip, and that's actually going to give you what we call our waist to hip ratio. And we'll use that to compare it to a lot of normative data that we can use to really judge where that client is sitting in terms of the waist to hip ratio and actually deem their risk of developing certain chronic conditions. Okay, so they've noticed a higher waist to hip ratio has a higher prevalence of developing diabetes, hypertension, obesity, etc. So it's cool to intervene early and then get our clients on track and try to reduce that waist to hip ratio as they move on. The upper arm is the next one. So use the shoulder, go down to the elbow, find the halfway point, and then we measure away. The chest, pretty straightforward. Just underneath the armpits, get the client to breathe in, breathe out, and relax. Your thigh, very straightforward. Middle point of the upper leg. So go from the tuberosity of the knee up to, of the hip, and go all the way down to your epicondyles. Okay, so on the fibula there. So take that measurement, half it, and then that's where you take your measurement from. You then got your calf measurement guide, which is going to be the widest part of the calf. You take that from. So pretty straightforward, but they are really good effective measurements that we'll show you guys how to do perfectly next time you come on campus. So our next component is a test, the type of test that not a lot of people enjoy, unfortunately, but your cardiovascular fitness testing is a great way to get an idea of where your client's sitting in terms of, that cardiovascular ticker, how efficient is that heart at pumping oxygen around the body. So a quick review on VO2 max. And VO2 max is what a lot of cardiovascular tests are actually based on, and they set their standards based on that. So a lot of the tests I'm going to show you guys today are sub-maximal VO2 max. So I'm not taking my client to VO2 max, which is like a 10 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. You'll have people passing out after these tests. That is very, very hard to take someone all the way to their VO2 max. So the tests that we run as exercise professionals and PTs are called sub-maximal. So they actually predict my client's VO2 max. And what is VO2 max? You're pretty much looking at the cardiovascular efficiency from a gold standard perspective. So how efficient is that cardiovascular system at getting oxygen in and actually using that oxygen around the body and sending it out to my peripheral muscles to pretty much use for metabolism, break down different metabolites, and actually give me energy to move. Okay. So one way they can do this is what Oliver's doing there on the treadmill. It's called gas analyzing. So pretty much that mask that she's wearing, that's going to send a message down to the computer, and it's constantly going to analyze the gas that she's actually exhaling. So it can tell you how much carbon dioxide you're actually expiring, and it can tell you that VO2 max. So what's your maximum lung capacity that we're looking at there. So our first test, and this is a really common one that you use with a lot of elderly and beginner clients, is a real simple one. So the Queen's College step test is very simple. You're using a 40 centimeter step here. You're pretty much putting 3 minutes on the timer, and you're letting your client step up and down for 3 minutes. So it's not the most exciting test, but it's a nice, safe, low-risk test that you can do with pretty much any client, okay? As long as it's suitable, all right? I won't be doing it with advanced guys because they're important and quick and they can handle a more intense test. So once you've finished the 3 minutes, you take their heart rate and then you compare it to the normative values. Now, a little tip that I would give for this one, so your client's going to be stepping up and down that step for 3 minutes. And a lot of people either go really, really quick or they go really, really, really slow, or they'll lose their rhythm halfway through. You want to keep them at the same rhythm. So for this, we need to try and regulate the steps. Okay, so what I'll recommend is actually getting a metronome. Okay, for males, set it for 48 beats per minute, and every time they get that little click, so it sounds like this. They step up and they step down the step. That's going to keep them at a regular pace. For females, you set it for 44 beats per minute. Okay, so that keeps them at the same pace for the whole test, and they're averaging that good 24 steps a minute, which is what they should be doing for this Queen's College step test. And they're not going to have crazy bad results or crazy low results in terms of comparing to the norms. Okay, if you are feeling really mathematical, there is actually a VO2 max prediction equation you can use for the Queen's College step test to predict your client VO2 max. So there it is. All you pretty much have to do is just pop their heart rate in after they are recovered from the test. Okay, so pretty much as soon as 3 minutes on, bang, heart rate's in, and then you just pretty much pop into the equation to predict VO2 max. Some nice to know tests. You guys may have done these before. I think we've all probably once done the beat test at high school or primary school at some stage. So that would be an aerobic capacity test. But it's starting to get a little bit of a bad rap just because it's not very specific to what major sports teams at the moment. You can predict it to VO2 max, but in terms of the specificity to sport, not a lot of teams are using the beat test anymore. Unfortunately, you do have multi-stage shuttle runs now that a lot of people are tending to, I guess, favour. So this is examples like the yo-yo test is one where you can actually have different tests for aerobic and anaerobic capacity. You can look at things like 6 by 20 meter sprints and time based on that. That's going to give you a bit of that client's anaerobic capacity as well. Fortunately, we have heaps of different cardiovascular tests. I would recommend checking out Top End Sports to look at the main kind of differences between tests that involve the aerobic and the anaerobic system. Okay, aerobic system, you're typically looking at a set distance or time for a distance and how quick you can actually complete that. For your anaerobic system, you're looking at shorter distances, but you're looking at how much you actually decrease over that time to complete the effort. All right, so that's where you can see the guys at the bottom, they've got timing gates that come in really handy to help predict that. If not, best you can do is just track the amount of time it takes to complete a certain amount of distance at that intensity. Okay, quicker the better for anaerobic. So next component is muscular strength and endurance testing. So it's important to understand the differences between strength testing and muscular endurance testing. So strength testing, we're looking at the maximal force that my muscles are going to push out in order to move a weight. Your endurance testing, you're looking at the muscles' ability to actually repeatedly contract and avoid fatigue. So here's examples of a couple of tests that you can utilize. You got 1 rep max test, which are a gold standard for strength testing. You also have, on the other side of the scale, is endurance test. So like a max push-up test would be an example of a muscular endurance test because my muscles are competing to avoid fatigue. Okay, so pretty much the longer I can maintain those push-ups, the better my muscular strength and endurance is. We have a few different options that are on there, guys, but the biggest one that you go for strength is 1 rep maxes. Okay, only catches, I'm going to talk about later on. They have to have a little bit of gym experience. You can't just take a beginner who's never lifted weight in before, so you got to do 1 rep max. It can get a little bit dangerous. Okay. So our first muscular strength and endurance test is the push-up test. So you're going to try and complete as many reps as possible. Can do this for a minute, but I like to just do it for the max. So how many can they complete? Don't really worry about time. I do like to set the metronome again for this one. So I set it to 60 beats per minute. I'll get it going, and every single time it clicks, the client goes down. Every time it clicks again, it goes up. Okay? They keep that same pace. Okay, for as many reps as they can. Obviously, as they start to go through the test, they're going to get fatigued, they're going to start slowing down, so they need to keep pace with the metronome or they get a strike. Okay? Or if they completely fail, technique starts to go out the window, they don't get full range, for example, they're out the window. So they have to get full range and they have to keep track with the metronome in order to get it. Okay? So making sure they get full range is key, so chin to mat bare minimum, and you can actually compare their results to the greater norm. But I like it using metronome just because it keeps it consistent and I can repeat that very easily later on down the track. Lucky last, sorry, this next one is our 60-second abdominal curl test. So this is just a little half crunch that we're looking at. So knees are set up at 90, arms are by their side, palms are down. You're just trying to get the shoulder blades off the mat. All right. So if he brings like his fingertips to his knees, he should be well off. For some people, you'll need to bring their wrists to knees in order to get the full kind of shoulder blades off the floor. All right. So once they get that, you're looking at max reps they can do of that same range of movement for the full minute. Okay. Average person probably should be getting 25 reps a minute. It's a pretty easy test, guys. Use it for kids more often, just because they tend to be a little bit less developed through the rectus abdominis. Okay, so it's a good indicator they got a weak core and can build on that later on. So abdominal curl, very easy, very straightforward. Just make sure the technique's good. They're getting shoulder blades off the mat. They're not just reaching forward and touching their knees. Okay. Nice to know for you guys, obviously, because once you get into PT, we'll go into a bit more detail. But the 1 rep max test is one that I do quite a bit, and I encourage this one with intermediate and advanced clients. If they're not 100% confident, however, you can go into 3 rep, 5 rep, 8 rep, 10 rep, 12 rep max testing. You know, it's still going to give you a predicted 1 rep max. The only catch is the further away you get from testing an actual 1 RM, the less accurate the prediction gets. Okay, so 1 RMs are risky, so keep that in mind. You have these other things up your sleeve, but if your clients that are quite a resistance training got a good spotter, it can be a relatively safe environment as long as you both know what you're doing. Okay, so just keep in mind for more intermediate or advanced clients. Another nice to know is grip strength. Coming to the last time, I've done this one myself with a client, but can be one that you actually can use to determine someone's lift ability. So something like deadlift requires quite a lot of grip strength, and females, for example, will struggle with grip strength. So it's something you can actually use to measure their grip strength. As they start to get better, you can retest again, but it might determine their ability to lift weight. So a lot of females will just struggle just with the grip strength, but they're lucky they actually start to improve it quite quickly as they go through their program. So that's all the basis for our body composition, cardiovascular, and our muscular strength and endurance test. That concludes our second part of our testing recording. When we come back, we've got 1 more part, so have a quick break for me, and then come back and we'll discuss a few more additional things to consider when it comes to testing.